My name is Nzilani. I am the CEO and founder of Angelique Achievers, and I'm also the Programs Director of Women in Africa, Kenyan chapter, and I serve as a transformation life coach. I was born and brought up in a village in Makueni, a place called Kitise. That's where I went to school, primary school. It was a humble background. I remember my parents were teachers, and I remember we used to go to school barefoot. So you wonder, how do teachers not manage to buy school shoes for their children? But we were many in our family, and yeah, we did well. I can say that we did well because my parents were also leaders in our church. They are staunch Catholics up to today. My father is late, my mother is still there, but we were brought up in a good background, I can say. And in high school, I went to Kitui, a school called Mulango Girls. It was a good school, also very humble background, because I can remember life wasn't so good in high school because we used to fetch water in a river. I hope that's not the situation right now, but we did well also. I was a library prefect from Form 2 all the way to Form 4. So I can say that I did well. I was a very good student and my favorite subject was mathematics. I actually scored an A in mathematics. Even though I didn't really pass to go to the university straight away, I still did well in mathematics and the sciences. So my dream when I was young was to become a professor, because I liked what my parents were doing as teachers, mentoring people in our village. And I used to have the dream of becoming a professor. So one day, I remember in high school, we were getting presents from, there was this prize giving day, and I was being awarded the best student in mathematics. And the lady who was giving us gifts told me that I will be a professor. I should be a professor. So I went even out of high school with that dream. I wanted to study mathematics, but I couldn't go to the university straight away. But I think my parents thought that it was wise for me to go to Strathmore and do accounting. So I went and did CPAs. I didn't like CPA because it's actually not mathematics. It was actually different. I was used to formulas and all these things, but the CPA has a lot. It's taxation, it's so many other things. Yes, it's calculations, yes, but there was also so many other things that required me to cram a lot of things, and I remember I wasn't very good in humanities, so I didn't like the CPA. I only did CPA 1 at Strathmore. Then I went to another college called Vision College because it wasn't, my parents couldn't continue paying school fees at Strathmore because I had other siblings who were also in school. So I went to Vision, and then in between, even before I finished, I got a job with an Indian farm. It was somewhere in industry area. We used to make construction materials, and I was a salesperson. Well, when I went, I was told that I'll be a salesperson come cashier, but I ended up being so many things in that office. So anyway, I liked my job because it really prepared me for so many other things. At that time, I didn't know that it was really preparing me, but it really prepared me because even when I was there, I opened my own company, construction company. I started having this desire of becoming a contractor. So I opened a construction company, and I would do, now our bosses, we used to sell the tiles and the products, but we were not doing the laying, mostly on the tiles section. So I saw an opening. So because many clients would come and ask me, so where do we get labor? And I would offer labor. So I got some boys who can, do the laying work. And I did well. So with that money, I took myself back to the university. I did marketing. Now, the reason I did marketing was because I felt that I was good with the talking. I enjoyed welcoming clients, and so the connection of myself and these other people, I can say that it made me feel like if I do marketing, I will do well in that field. So I did marketing. I started the degree, which took so many years to ever finish. And I'll tell you why. Because immediately after enrolling for the university, I had met someone who was one of our clients, and he was quite sweet and loving, and that village girl now introduced to candlelit dinners and exotic wine and sunset, watching the sunset. So I don't know, I just fell in love with him, and within a short time we were head over heels, going places, spending too much time together. But he couldn't be my guy because he was married. And I can remember fighting the urge of being with him, and every time I push away, there was always a reason for coming back. And okay, let's sit down. And I remember one time he told me, we had parted ways. I had said, enough is enough, you're married, go, pay attention to your marriage and all that. But he came to my office with flight tickets and hotel bookings in a beach hotel in Mombasa. And who am I? I've never been in a flight. So I said, well, I know him, so it's not like something new that I'm going to do. And we went to Mombasa and came back, and we still continued, this relationship. And along the way, I became pregnant. Now, I became pregnant when I had just started, I think, the first semester of the university. So my university journey was about being a mother, and I was staying in Embakasi. I'm going to Chiromo for classes, evening classes. It was quite hard, so I had to drop some of the units that I was doing. I had to keep on taking small units. Sometimes I just don't go to class. So it really, that's why it took so long for me to finish my university. So I think when my son was 2 years, I decided, no, I don't want this kind of life with him, with the father. So we parted ways. Now I was serious, it had to end. So we ended and parted ways, and around the same time, after a few months, I lost my job. And immediately after losing my job, I knew that I have the company, so I went straight full board into construction. So I would now take, I would lay cabros, I would take gypsum ceiling, these interior design jobs, and finishing, anything to do with finishing, paint work, special paints, whatever I could get. So I used to really go around a lot. I had a car, so it wasn't so hard for me. So now I was doing well, and I think after, when you're bringing up a child as a single mother, there are the challenges that the child gives you. So he kept on telling me he's a very strong and pushy child. So he would ask me, Mom, when are we ever going to have a daddy? Why don't we have a daddy in our home? And even myself, I felt like I have everything because I was living well. I have a car. I was still in school. So I would say that the only thing that is lacking in my life is a man. So I really wished and prayed that I get the right man for me and my son. So I met one of the Ghanaians I had met that time, introduced me to this guy. This guy now, the one that I fell in love with. He was in the football business as a manager. He owns a football club in Ghana. So when we met, it was, those things that you desire, yes, you want, but sometimes it's like you don't even know how to really love. So I think I was that person who, I think I was broken from my previous relationship and I wasn't healed, and then I'm falling in love again. I'm getting myself into another relationship where when I'm not even ready emotionally. And sometimes we think that time heals, but it really doesn't. What heals is the work you do on yourself. So I got attached to this guy. He was, I can say he was broke, and initially I didn't mind that actually. I didn't mind being with him. I remember our first date, I paid for our lunch. Then we would go out and come back, and it's like I'm the one spending everything I have. And at that time I was building a church, so I was liquid. I had good money. He could see that I have money. I'm paying casuals. I'm carrying a lot of cash around, and I think he took advantage of that. And immediately after we met, about 3 months after, he moved into my house. I was staying in a 3-bedroom house. So he moved into my house. My son, I think after about 2 months, he was calling this guy my dad. And this guy had come with footballers from Ghana. And when he moved in, after some time, because we are the ones who are funding for their stay in, we as in me and him now, in where they were staying. So we realized that it's becoming too expensive. So why don't they come in and live with us? So now I was living with this guy and 4 other guys, foreigners, and then my son, and my nephew was also staying with me because I was working with him and he was also new in Nairobi. So I was trying to introduce him into this business, greenhouse and construction things. So within a short time, I was becoming broke. The contract that I had ended, and then I got pregnant, and I couldn't work. I don't even know why I wasn't so aggressive, but the pregnancy had something to do with it. And then now I started becoming broke. And this guy, noticing that I'm becoming broke, he requested me to help him get a work permit. So I helped him to get a work permit in Kenya, and then to get a driving license. So he would go out with my car, not knowing that my thoughts were he's going out to work to get contracts, get footballers to sign with him so that he can sell them to other countries, because he had the exposure, of course, online, seeing the online work that he was doing. And after a short while, I'm completely broke now. He's the one going out with the car, and sometimes he would come home with some money. Then I came to realize that this money is just even being gotten from other women. He would go lie to other women. He's single, he's looking for a wife to marry, he's selling this car. So when he sells the car, he's going to pay them. So I remember one lady gave him 200,000, and by the time she realized that he's living with me, it was too late. She even fainted when she got the news. So after a short while, now we decided this guy should go back to Ghana, because he kept on saying that he has properties there that he's going to sell and bring the money back to Kenya. So what do? I sold my car to fund for his ticket. We had so many debts for our house and so many other things, school fees, and So I sold my car, paid debts, and gave him the rest to go to Ghana. And we moved to a smaller house. And guess what? We are moving with the boys, the 4 boys again. So yeah, let me laugh at for myself, not my current self. So this guy went, and we were in constant communication, day in, day out. And I remember he would say, he's coming. He kept on saying that he's going to come before I give birth. He left when I was 5 months pregnant. And by the time I was giving birth, he was not sending any money, he's not coming. But the day I gave birth, he sent some money. Though when I went to the hospital, I had to borrow money to go to the hospital. I remember my sister had to come in and help me. My brothers had to come in and help me. And these people I had already pushed away, because at that time, when I had met this guy, I couldn't hear anything from anyone. Even my own parents had cautioned me, but I couldn't hear. My answer used to be like, I'm the one with him. I know him. I can see what he's doing. It's genuine. It's business. And so, yeah, so he never came. I gave birth. And within a short time now, we decided let's go to Ghana, because now it's become hard for him to come. So because he has a property there, why don't we go to Ghana with my children? So I disposed my things, I got passports for the children and waited for him to send tickets, which never happened. When my son was about 6 months, I was staying with my sister who was housing me as we waited to go to Ghana. And I realized that this thing is not happening. So now I started going out to look for work again, talking to my former clients. And a lady called me from Ghana and told me that this guy has been lying to me all along. And she told me that he's married and she's the wife. And I asked her for how long, and she said for 10 years. They've been married for 10 years. Then I told her to send me evidence, and she sent me photos from a wedding album. So that was my wake-up call. And now, from that time, I realized that I only have me now. So I had moved out. I had moved out from my sister's place now, living on my own, struggling here and there. And one of my former clients in construction gave me some work, interior design, and I got, I kept on getting small jobs here and there, but it was really quite a struggle. So one day I started now praying that I get someone to mentor me or someone to counsel me. And I met my former client, who is an architect, and in town, and he had started a coaching business. So he invited me to one of his open days, and when I went, I knew that this is what I want to do. I think this will help me. So I did the class. He has a mentorship class. He has a transformation, personal development class, and I did the class, and it was quite helpful. I found myself again. I healed. I can say that since then, it's been a journey of rediscovery, transformation. I found my purpose, which is now to help people, not with my money, but with what I can say. I managed to now learn how to turn my voice into an invoice. The professor I was dreaming of became now something different, and I became a transformation life coach. I went for more training, and every time is furthering my trainings and furthering my journey. I registered Angelique Achievers. It's my company. That's what I work with. I'm now doing trainings. I do mentorships in schools. My trainings are based on personal development and, of course, applying Christian values. I talk to young girls, and that's why I was taken to, I found myself in Women in Africa as a coach, as a trainer. Young girls, there are so many young girls who are lost. Actually, I think the bigger percentage of young girls now are lost. Bigger percentage of women are lost. Even those who are married, so many of them are lost. They don't know how they got themselves in this kind of marriages they are in. And if you look around, there are so many marriages that are ailing. And it's because there's not that self-awareness. There's not that self-love. There's no that even putting yourself out there to be of service. I remember in my Sunday school teaching, our introduction to God and who we are, and we all have that introduction, is that who are you, or why did God create you? And the answer is God created me to love Him, to know Him, to love Him, and to serve Him. So many people know who God is. So many people love God. But how many are serving God? How many are serving? And serving God is just being of service to other people, to humanity. When you're starting a business, how are you starting this business? Are you solving a situation, a problem in the society, or are you just starting a business, an M-Pesa business, because you saw a friend start an M-Pesa business and it flourished? So these are the things that now I'm helping young women and even young people to look at. Those who are coming up and admiring, you know, big men who are doing great things, and now they start rushing and going for those men and those women who are up there. They've also had their journey of growth. So you need to trust your process. Let us trust our processes. Even when you're young, know that one day I will be somewhere. But have a dream, have a goal. When you have goals, when you have a plan, and you put God in it, it will always flourish. So I help young girls and women come out of all this bondage and find themselves and find, you know, who they are supposed to be. So with Angelique Achievers, I do team building. I don't just say team building for women. I don't like saying that I can only work with women alone, because I'm a mother of sons, 2 boys. So if we neglect the boys, who will mentor them? We will have the girl who is well and, you know, taken care of mentally and emotionally, and broken men who have no one to take care of. So I'm out there to serve women, boys, you know, young youths and teenagers. And my programs are now on corporate trainings, on personal development. So I'm getting to know people. I'm opening my heart now, because I feel like maybe I'm at a good place to get to know other people, men, and to see what is out there for me, you know. Yeah, we can find love and we can find new skills at whatever age. So I'm not giving up on love because I was heartbroken now. My heart is mended, and it's a piece of art now, and a very beautiful piece of art.